Alrighty, welcome back everyone to the Sam Houston Sports Talk podcast. Call Neil, and as always, Luke Scott right by my side. Luke, let's dive straight into it. Mainly because I got some really good fajitas waiting for me, and you got to watch your Cowboys probably disappoint again on Sunday Night Football.
Right now, I'm wearing the cowboy gear because I know tomorrow I'm gonna want to throw it all away. So, um,
Do you,
just gotta support them right now. We're gonna get crushed tonight
so
by the
so
Niners,
so
and
you're
by the time people are watching this, they're gonna know.
so you're not a jersey burner. You're not one of those people.
No, 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 no. I'm much more in the Skip Bayless type line where he just throws it in the trash, but then after he records him throwing it in the trash, he cleans it and puts it back up. I'm much more into that. I'm not a jersey burner. If I lived in Cleveland or rooted for any sort of time, I'd root for a LeBron at any point. I would be that, but nope, not me.
Well, either way, this is thank God not a Cowboys podcast. This is a Sam Houston podcast. Sam Houston Bearkats taking on the Louisiana Tech, Bulldogs this Tuesday night on at 7 p.m. Central. ESPNU. It is black out. Luke, last year, the Bearcats marched into Ruston and whooped up on them on their own homecoming, not homecoming, senior day rather, and that was the first time that the Bearcats beat an FBS opponent as an FBS program, and La Tech was in a bit of a not in a good place at the time. And they still seem like they really aren't, even though they're near 500. They're one game away from being 500. Luke, Sonny Cumby, the head coach, had to hand over play calling duties to a passing game coordinator. It looked really good at first. I mean, you saw the offensive performance they had against Middle Tennessee. It was high flying. It was smooth. Evan Bullock, their redshirt freshman quarterback, is honestly he could be really dangerous in the future if they decide to keep him. And our special guest Malcolm Butler talked a little bit about that in the interview coming up shortly. But Luke, Louisiana Tech still doesn't. They're not there right now. I mean, they have great history, but it just seems like they haven't been playing Bulldog football in so long.
No, it hasn't, and La Tech is in such an interesting location, being pretty close to Texas, but we all know the recruiting hotbed that Louisiana is. They're near the Mississippi and Arkansas. They're kind of in the northern part of Louisiana, and usually La Tech has a lot of really good players, and has been a pretty good program within the past 20 years or so. They've just had a real issue here in the past couple seasons with Sonny Cumby. We talked a little bit to Malcolm Butler about their away record, which he'll get to, but it's just kind of been a season where they've been high and low. It's you never really know what you're going to get. They've just been kind of inconsistent. At home, they've been really good, and at away from Ruston, they have been a little shaky. And so it just kind of depends on what kind of law tech we get. We do know though that we think they found their quarterback, and he has been putting up some serious numbers in the past few times he's been out there.
Yeah, I mean, but again, Luke, this is a team. I mean, this team went toe to toe with NC State at NC State, only a 30-20 loss. We thought, oh, maybe they have something cooking, but then they had an overtime loss to Tulsa at home. They lost to FIU on the road in Miami, 17-10. Then that Middle Tennessee game happened where they put up 48 points, 48-21 over the Blue Raiders at home. But then they went on the road to New Mexico State, lost in double overtime in what was the wackiest Conference USA game we're going to have all year. Because, I mean, my God, it was just a game of knuckleball field goals. And then last week they were back home, but they barely beat UTEP in 14-10. I mean UTEP. I mean, I hate to say it, but UTEP's not a good football team right now. You're at home. You should beat them. And now they're coming to Sam Houston, where Sam Houston's coming off of a very rough football game of their own from in Miami and FIU. So these two teams, Luke, they're coming to this game. They're trying to figure out their identity, or not trying to figure it out, trying to find a way to get their identity back.
Yeah, and I think the conflicting results this year have not helped at all. One game they've been able to throw it all over the field against Middle Tennessee. They looked really good and looked like, okay, hey, maybe this team has found something that they can really bank on. Then they lose a double overtime game, yeah, to New Mexico State. Like you said, it was just a crazy one, right? Um, they've won against one of the okay teams in Middle Tennessee, but they've also lost quite a few. And you would think the bottom three of the Conference USA lost to two of them, right, with New Mexico State and FIU. So it's just a weird team. But I'm actually really glad that this one's going to be in Huntsville. If this one was in Ruston, I would be a little concerned, kind of like how we both were there with FIU. But um, sounds like we have good news coming out of the Sam Houston camp. From the injury spot from Hunter Watson, and La Tech's really struggled in their run game this year. So, good news on both fronts there for Sam Houston.
Yeah, Hunter Watson is seems like he is most likely going to be coming back this Tuesday night. Keeler said on a pod, I think it's Sports 360, I think YT Sports 360, I think that's the name. He said
Mm-hmm.
that that Watson will probably suit up Tuesday, and he even said in the previous presser that they're excited to get him back. While it's a little play on words a little bit, but Luke, it does sound like that Watson is coming back, and thank goodness. I mean, no, I mean Bauer, I think, is still a good quarterback, a decent quarterback. That it's just that with what Sam Houston wants to do, they want to use the quarterback a lot in the run game, especially. But I am kind of curious, Luke. Do we see a bit of an adjustment to where Watson, you know, doesn't take those hits? Because I feel like they have to adjust a little bit, and Watson was throwing the football much better. They were getting him involved in the passing game a lot. So maybe it was the start of that. It's just the injury came at the wrong time.
Yeah, and in the press conference this past what was that Friday? I guess it was. Coach Keeler was asked about that. I believe it was Colton Foster, I believe, from the Huntsville Item that said, "Hey, Coach, Hunter Watson's been taking some hits. Is it time to maybe just reconsider a few things there?" And it wasn't that Keeler completely disagreed with him, but he did acknowledge it, and he was like, "Yeah, Hunter's taking some bigger hits, and it could have just been a combination of weeks and weeks and taking some big hits, running the football." I think Sam Houston's probably going to come out, not necessarily be super conservative, but we're just not going to see, I think, the total package when it comes to Hunter Watson running the ball early in the game in the first half, and then see kind of where that takes you offensively. But yeah, the history of Hunter Watson getting hit in the run game is not the friendliest. But the good news is the last time we saw him throwing the ball, it was really good. I mean, against Western Kentucky, I think he was 6 for 9, 2 touchdowns, super efficient. It was really good. So I do think there's going to be a reconsideration a little bit when it comes to the offensive play calling.
Yeah, and then some other injury news. Noah Smith is a game time decision, according to Casey Keeler. It'd be interesting to see if he suits up, or they just let him sit out for one more game just to be safe. I think this is an important game because not only is it a home game, but it's another nationally televised game. I think this will be finally the first time if Watson does play. This will be the first time people will see a full game out of Hunter Watson, and also I think it's just a good way for the team to bounce back because there's still a lot of conference championship implications due to Liberty losing to
Yeah,
Kennesaw State.
yeah. It was a tremendous, kind of outcome there for Sam Houston. You really needed. I was really hoping Middle Tennessee was going to come out on top too, but it was a great outcome for Sam Houston.
Yeah, that was
Great
awesome.
win
It was
also
awesome.
too for Kennesaw. Great scene. I saw the guy that has been traveling around to all the different college football games. He was there. He got to rush the field, but yeah,
Twice.
that Liberty loss was twice. Yes, twice. Huge, huge implications there, and Not necessarily that it completely shakes up of what we thought Conference USA was going to be or is still, but it is good to know that you didn't completely lose a game. You're not a game or two behind, right? You're right there with Liberty in the conference. So it's a huge game, um, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm pretty confident coming into this one. I've been confident before, and it hasn't been great. I've been less confident, and it's worked out. So we'll see.
Hey, listen, I think if here's the result that needs to happen this week for Sam Houston, along with the W. Jack State is at Lynchburg against Liberty. I think if Liberty comes out with that win, and Sam Houston wins against La Tech, then Sam Houston has to win out the rest of the way to secure a spot in the Conference USA Championship. Western Kentucky faces Kennesaw State on Wednesday, I believe it is, in Bowling Green. I mean, we saw Kennesaw beat Liberty at home, but I don't think they're gonna have the firepower to beat Western Kentucky on the road. But you know what? It is inexcusably awesome football. Anything could happen. But Luca, if you do you have anything else to say before we see what Malcolm Butler has to say about La Tech?
Hey, we're huge fans of the Owls this week.
Yeah,
Huge fans.
I mean, hey, who gives a hoot? The Owls do, is what they say down in Cobb County, Georgia. All right, it's now time to hear what Malcolm Butler says about La Tech. He also has some pretty interesting things to say about Conference USA and the state of college football. Let's hear from
Guys, now joining us, he is the voice of Louisiana Tech football and men's basketball, Malcolm Butler. Malcolm, thank you for taking the time to join us here this morning.
Yeah, my pleasure, Colin.
So far this season, I mean, well, we all saw what happened a couple days ago with Kennesaw State when beating Liberty. I mean, Conference USA has just been like a crazy world so far. And Louisiana Tech is just, it seems like that they're on the brink of potentially going on a run to where they could put themselves in a good position, not for now and in the future. But it seems like that some changes happen. Just kind of what have you seen out of Louisiana Tech football so far this year?
Well, I mean, it's been a roller coaster ride, right? I mean, we're sitting here at 3-4, and in all honesty, we're a play or two every game. We could be 7-0. We've been in every single game in the fourth quarter. We've lost 4 games by 23 points. 2 of those coming in overtime. Biggest loss was 10-point loss at NC State. We were tied going to the fourth quarter of that ball game. So you're right. I mean, we've been right there in every single game. Unfortunately, haven't been able to make enough plays down the stretch to win ball games, and so instead we're sitting at 3-4.
Yeah, Malcolm, it seems like La Tech's dealt with some injuries at the quarterback position. They've kind of rotated a few guys. Is that just something that La Tech kind of thought was coming into the season, or what's going on right there?
Yeah, well, I mean, Jack Turner was our quarterback starting the season. He did get hurt, and it all runs together at this point, guys. It was early in the year. I can't remember which game. Missed a game. Blake Baker was our starter. Jack came back, was not as productive as they wanted him to be. Baker came back in, got hurt, had his clavicle broken. And so they brought in a redshirt freshman named Evan Bullock. And I'm going to tell you what, he has been really, really good for us ever since then. He started 4 games. I mean, he's completing about 66% of his passes. He's attempted 138 of them, 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So he's taking care of the football. And I'll be honest, I think he's kind of the guy of the future for us.
Sorry, I wouldn't unmute from my end. But so you were talking about Bullock. How do you think he has been like, progressing? Expect like throughout, not just like because not just his playing on the field, but the head coach is it Cumby? It's how you
Sonny
say it?
Cumbie.
Sonny
Yep.
Cumby. He relieved his play calling duties earlier on in the season. He's handed off to passing game coordinator. Just what has that do you think the offense has gotten a bit better now that Gumby gave up his play calling duties, or is it just kind of like a change of scenery kind of deal?
Well, he gave it up 3 games ago. In the first game that Nathan Young called the plays, we scored 48 points against Middle Tennessee, and everybody thought, okay, this was what we needed. But I mean, the last two, We did score 30 out at New Mexico State, but that was in double overtime, so that's a little bit jaded there. And then only 14 the other night in the win over UTEP. We've seen a little bit more creativity, but our biggest issue, and it's been our issue all year long, is we can't run the football. We're very one-dimensional right now. That's a lot of pressure to put on a redshirt freshman, which is what makes what Evan has done even more impressive, right? And we have played some defenses that have not been good against the run. I mean, you look at New Mexico State, they were giving up over 250 yards a game on the ground. You look at UTEP, they were giving up over 200 yards a game on the ground. UTEP the other night, we got a win and we ran it 30 times for 7 yards. You're not going to see that very often in college football. So our biggest issue right now across the board is a lack of a run game.
Coming into this matchup against Sam Houston, are you concerned about kind of the offense getting one dimensional, as you said, like kind of the season? Because Sam Houston's defense has really been kind of our better unit for the past few years and kind of both directions, stopping the run and the pass.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to be one dimensional. I don't care who you're playing, right? I mean, if you're one dimensional, it sure makes it a lot easier on the 11 guys on the other side of the ball. And so, yeah, it's a concern. It's been a concern all year. We've only had one game, and really that was Middle Tennessee that we ran it well. But we're going to have to find a way. And I'm not talking, we don't have to run for 150 yards, but we need to look up and be able to run for 3.5 yards to carry, right? And we just haven't been able to do that. I mean, Sam Houston sounds like Louisiana Tech, right? The best side of the football for us, without a doubt, has been the defensive side, and we've had the ability to slow the run down. We've had the ability to prevent people from hitting big plays against us in the passing game for the most part, and so basically, we have been winning with defense.
Oh, I would like you, if you don't mind, touch a little bit more on the defensive side of things. Who are some key players to look out for?
Sure. Yeah. Jeremiah Johnson's in his first year as our defensive coordinator. He came from Northern Iowa. The last 2 years, Sonny's first 2 years, defensively, we were not good. I mean, I think we gave up probably about 250 yards a game on the ground last year, close to 500 yards per game overall. And Jeremiah Johnson has come in here, and it's been a complete 180 so far. And we've got more speed on the field. We kind of run a 3-3-5 defense. They put a little bit more speed out there. So we go east to west just as well as going north to south. And, that unit has been really, really good. Like I said, I think we've only given up 3 plays all year of 40 or more yards, whether that's on the ground or in the air. All 3 of those have come in the last 2 weeks, 2 against New Mexico State. They were both pass plays, and then a little screen pass that went for 47 yards against UTEP the other night for a touchdown. So the unit's been good. We're a little banged up right now in the secondary, to be honest with you. We've got a couple of safeties that have been down. We had a kid that was forced into action Tuesday night against UTEP. He didn't have a tackle all year long and was forced into action in the first quarter and ended up leading us with tackles at the 11 and got basically the game-sealing tackle on a 4th down play late in the 4th quarter. So, I think a couple of those guys are supposed to be back this week. But, yeah, that unit has been really, really good this year. I think they're giving up about 22 points a game. And, again, that's even a little bit misleading. You've got a double overtime game. You've got an overtime game that there's 12 points that weren't scored in regulation. I think we've given up 2 or 3 pick sixes this year that, again, go against your scoring defense, but really the defense didn't give it up. So, in all honesty, that defensive unit's probably only given up about 18 points a game. And considering it was probably at least 2 times that last year, that tells you what kind of turnaround it's been.
Colin, it feels just like us last year, losing in overtime and then just a lot of close game, one possession losses that it just kind of happens. Malcolm, do you think there's anything to read into with just looking at the record, 3-1 at home and 0-3 outside of Ruston, Louisiana? Is there just something that's just not clicking on the road that's been at home?
Well, it's been an issue for us now for 4 years, over 4 years. We won at UTEP. I guess that was last year. Prior to that, our last home win would have been in early December of, I believe it was 2020. So that tells you how bad we have been on the road over the last 4 years, and that dates back before Sonny Cumbie was here. That was Skip Holtz last year as well. So we've been in a lot of close ball games on the road, and I mean, all you have to do is look at Las Cruces, New Mexico State, a couple of weeks ago. We're up a touchdown, 4 minutes to play. All we need is our defense to get a stop. They've been really good all year. New Mexico State marches down, scores the game tying touchdown with about a minute 45 to play. Offense drives down the field, sets us up for a 27-yard field goal, basically an extra point on the last play of the game. It gets blocked. We go into overtime, force them to kick a field goal on their first possession. A touchdown will win it. We have a third down play where our wide receiver, True Edwards, is open by about 3 or 4 yards in the end zone. And Bullock, who had been really good all night, overthrows him. And so there's the perfect example or illustration. We had a chance for our defense to win a ball game. The special teams had a chance to win the ball game. The offense had a chance to win the ball game. And we ultimately lose the game in double overtime. And it's just kind of been that kind of story on the road for us.
With all this conference realignment, just and all that, La Tech's been in the conference for a bit now. Just what with the new teams, especially including Sam Houston, just in their second year, you got Kennesaw State, New Mexico State, of course, and some others on the way. Just what do you think about the state of Conference USA volleyball or not volleyball, football so far?
I mean, if we're being honest, I'm not sure the conference is real stable right now. I mean, it seems like when other leagues need teams to fill spots, it's kind of a domino effect is what we've seen, right? And so I don't know how much stability, and it's not just Conference USA, how much stability is in college football altogether. I honestly wish they would kind of just take the Power Four, set them aside, take the rest of the FBS schools, kind of blow everything up and arrange them geographically, right? So at least it would make sense from a travel standpoint and so forth. But, I mean, the league's trying to do what they can to stabilize it. But in this day and age of college sports and TV money and shakeups and all that, I just don't know how much stability's there. And so, I mean, Delaware joins the league next year. I don't know about you guys. That's not a bus trip for us. You got Missouri State coming in as well. And so, it's constantly changing. I guess kind of the cool thing is you get to go to some places maybe you haven't been before. I've never been to Kennesaw State. I can promise you I've never been to Delaware. So we'll see. I don't know what college athletics is going to look like in 5 years. Don't get me on my soapbox on the transfer portal and NIL and all those things, but they have let the genie out of the bottle, and I'm not sure what they're going to do to try to get the genie back in the bottle.
If the Pac-12 can completely be reshaped in a year or 2 years, that was one of the big conferences, historically, right? And it just kind of collapsed there out of nowhere. And you're exactly right with, I think Conference USA's leadership has done a solid job, but how good of a job can you do whenever you just don't know who's knocking on the door, tomorrow?
Yeah, no, it's tough, right? It really is, and you hear the term student athlete welfare all the time from the NCAA level, from the conference level, and it's tough because are they truly worried about the student athlete when now you've got Stanford having to fly to the East Coast to play a conference game? Is that about the student athlete or is that about the almighty dollar? And that's what it's about, right? And I'm not a fan of the midweek games in Conference USA in the month of October. I understand the thought process, right? Television exposure. It helped generate a few more dollars for the television contract. So I get all of that. But, we flew back from Las Cruces, New Mexico, and we rolled into Ruston at 6:30 in the morning, and those kids had to go to class that morning, right? And how much student athlete welfare is figured into that. So again, you get me on my soapbox here, but I'm afraid that obviously the almighty dollar is what is controlling college sports, and who knows what it looks like when this House settlement is finally decided here, within the next year.
Yeah, that seems like a little story that's going on that it's just it's building up over time. Then it just feels like like you said, when it finally settles, it's just all gonna fall apart, or not fall apart, but like basically the dominoes will start falling. So, but Malcolm, before I let you go, what do you think are going to be the keys for Louisiana Tech to coming out of Huntsville with the victory and getting to 500?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, we're going to have to find some sort of remnants of a running game, and again, I don't. We're not going to run for 200 yards, but can we average 3 yards a carry? Can we create some shots down the field and hit on them? Defensively, we got to continue to do what we do. As good as our defense has been this year, I guess the one so far Achilles heel is they haven't forced a lot of turnovers this year, and so we've got to create some takeaways and in all honesty, our offense has to find a way when they get good field position to score. We had 5 drives that started within UTEP's side of the field on Tuesday night, and we generated 0 points off of those 5 drives. You're not going to win too many games when you don't take advantage of that. We had 2 drives all night. We had a 73-yard touchdown drive, and then in the fourth quarter, with the game on the line, we had a 97-yard touchdown drive. So there's 170 yards of offense on those true drives, and our other 11 drives, I think, generated about 80 total yards. So we've got to be a little bit more consistent. And then, special teams always seems to play a big part of close ball games, and I expect this to be a close ball game. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I know Sam was without their quarterback when they went down to Miami on Tuesday night, but the fact that our game was higher scoring than that one, and we only scored a grand total of 24 points, says something. Tuesday night was not a night for offense in Conference USA. But, yeah, I think it's going to boil down to, can Louisiana Tech find a way to run the football? Can they hit some shots down the field? And can they create some turnovers and win the special teams?
Yeah, I'll tell you, that game on Tuesday, Sam Houston FIU game, it was something to watch. It was or what people call it these days, inexcusably awesome football. I don't know if you heard that term. So
I have not, but we were keeping an eye on it while we were playing. And is the Sam quarterback supposed to be back this week or next
so
week?
so Watson is so Keeler said in a podcast that he's confident that Watson will be back for La Tech.
Gotcha.
So, but we'll
Well,
see what happens because some things can change overnight. We're actually about to get ready to go to have Keeler go on a presser, so maybe he'll get more information from us. But Luke, if you don't have anything else, I don't either. So, Malcolm, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you Tuesday night.
you bet, guys. Thanks a lot. Look forward to coming to Huntsville.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
I'd like to thank Malcolm Butler again for joining us on Sam Houston Sports Talk. All right, Luke, it's time. Just keys and predictions. I feel like we're both expecting a win, but I want to know, do you think it's going to be close, or do you think it's going to be what we know Sam Houston can do and beat La Tech by 2 possessions at least?
Yeah, it's a spot that it'll be interesting to see kind of what Sam Houston comes out with. Um, as I kind of previously talked about with Hunter Watson, um, I think there is some question marks on kind of how we're going to use him coming into this one. Sam Houston's a 9.5 point favorite at this point Sunday night. Um, Over under right here, I'm looking at it is 46.5. So kind of a mild spread there, kind of in all facets. I'm sorry, 10 points favorite is Sam. I think that's about right. I don't think La Tech is going to come at us with anything that we haven't seen before, and I think this is another game where we're going to have to rely on our defense a little bit here. As Malcolm talked about, La Tech's been a little one-dimensional this year, just not really able to throw the football. And we've seen teams that aren't really able to run the football against us have been, pretty easily dealt with, right? And so I think my biggest keys is really just keep everything in front of you at this point, because those explosive, long, huge over-the-top plays, that can be something that can really hurt you. Your defense can play great all night, and if you give up one or two of those plays, that can really flip the entire momentum. And on the offensive side of the ball, knock on wood, we haven't turned the ball over really much all this year. We've been pretty good with the ball. We just can't afford turnovers at home. This is that type of game where things can really get out of hand if you just play super sloppy, especially in the first half. So I think just being careful with the ball and keeping everything in front of you for the defense, nothing behind the safeties. I think those are my two biggest keys of the game, as well as we gotta be better on special teams.
Yeah. What's your score? What's your score you got over there?
I'm gonna say 31-10, Sam Houston.
31-10 Sam Houston. Yeah, I mean, as always, like I think your keys are spot on. Offensively, though, I say just I would just say take it slow a little bit. Like I don't think you have to come out with the explosiveness real quickly because if Watson does play, Luke, this is going to be his first in-game action in almost 2 weeks. So I mean, practice is one thing, but in game's another. And
Yeah.
in practice, you're trying to get yourself prepared for the in-game action as best you can. It's not even close to going to be like what in-game is going to be. So I'd say maybe if you keep running the football, honestly keep getting the ball to DJ McKinney. I mean that dude's just a wild card. Like he can do he just runs through guys. He's basically like our Ashton Genty a little bit. Maybe not with the numbers, but he's that small running back that just bulldogs people and just shaves off tacklers. Um, but
We got to keep getting the ball to Simeon Evans too. He's been
exactly,
great
yeah,
for us.
he's been great too. I mean, those wide receiver screens, like I would like to see some of those. Keep getting Sown involved. He dropped that one pass that could have easily been six, but I'd say keep feeding him the ball, keep feeding the tight end a bit more. That really does offer and with Watson coming back, it offers an extra safety blanket. Like I always say, like, what a good tight end is, it's a safety blanket. Give me now I'm gonna be a little bit crazy here. Give me 38-14 Sam Houston.
Wow, so you really think it's gonna be more of an offensive showcase here for Sam?
I think it look the thing is like these past two games have been just bad. Like only 21 points throughout the last two games. I just feel like Sam Houston's due for a good offensive turnout. And because because before the Western Kentucky game, we scored over 40 points twice. In fact, in every win before FIU, Sam Houston scored at least 30 points. So I think Sam
Yeah.
Houston is due for an offensive output, especially against La Tech, who can't stop the run very well. And if you just and also they don't really have the best secondary. They have decent linebacking core, but I think at the end of the day, Sam Houston's a much better team on paper, and I think they're going to overpower La Tech. And I think the defense is going to give up two touchdowns, but I think they can shut down I think they can shut down that offense really easily.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I just don't think I think it'll be kind of a slower start for Sam. 31 points for me. I'm kind of pushing it. I feel like it's probably going to be in the middle 20s, maybe, I guess. But I love the optimism. I'm just a little cautious on kind of how Sam Houston opens this game. Now that being said, if we get a tremendous, uh, play on special teams like a punt return, kick return, whatever, a block for a touchdown, like we've seen Sam Houston be able to do before, I think you're well within that spot. I just think it's a little too many points for that, Colin.
Nah, well, maybe I'm being a little too confident, but you know what? I think I'm just kind of I just kind of am excited to see them be back home and try to avenge themselves for what happened against Western Kentucky. I think that Western Kentucky game left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and just getting that and also getting that sixth win. Colton again
Yeah.
even asked that question to Keeler, like, was that sixth win like kind of a thing where it was kind of on their minds, like, ugh, we're so close. Like, cause that's the thing, Luke. Like sometimes that happens where you're so close to your goal that you have another goal after that. But the thing is like you got to get to one thing first until before you get to the other stuff, which is the Conference USA Championship. The goal this year, Luke, was to get bowl eligible at the end of the day, and they're there. And I think now that that's over with, I think they're free from that. Honestly.
And it also could be a spot in your favor with your prediction. It could be a spot where you put up 10 points and 14 points in your last two games. So it could be kind of a calling card for Coach Cornelson, the offensive coordinator for Sam. It could just be one of those games where he says, let's just empty it. Let's just go all out and really try to pour it on and build confidence going into this final stretch. I believe, Colin, this is our last midweek game, correct?
Midweek, yes. We the rest of our games are on Fridays, which is
Right.
interesting.
So,
Go ahead.
well, that's just media rights or whatever it is, right? But um, no, the rest are on Saturday. The rest are on Saturday. Oh, except
Uh,
Liberty. Liberty's on
okay,
Friday.
yeah, it's Saturday, then Liberty's on Friday. Kennesaw State will be on ESPN Plus, of course, but the Jack State and Liberty will be on CBS Sports Network. So that's pretty interesting to see. The
I just think it's going to be kind of the game. It could be not. I don't think it could be the game where they just say, you know what, let's build some confidence. Let's really balloon our lead, um, and let's score some points and
yeah,
bring back the confidence from where the offense was really going into the Jacksonville State, going into that bye week, or not Jack State, West Kentucky, going into the bye week.
yeah, and just to end off, I think this is a game where they can just to build on your point, have that be that catapult into having a strong end to the year to get into the Conference USA Championship game, because you got this game, Kennesaw State. These next two games you should win, Luke. It's those last two games that are really the big tests and are going to determine if they make the Conference Championship or not. But that'll do it for us here on Sam Houston Sports Talk. Remember, 7 p.m. Central Time, ESPNU. It is blackout Bowers. Make it out there. Wear black. Wear orange if you don't have black, but they are handing out free T-shirts and all that good stuff. They're handing off some stuff, so go out to the tailgate. Maybe you see me there. Maybe you see Luke there as well. I don't know if Luke's gonna come or not, but I hope he does. So that way, we can give you the best coverage that you can. I mean, but I think I'll be enough. But maybe Luke will be too sad if his Cowboys lose. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see about that. What say you, Luke?
Colin, they've done enough to me where whatever they do, it can't affect me. I've been disappointed year in and year out. You just kind of take it on the chin and go to the next day. Thankfully, Sam Houston football is doing it for me right now.
Well, I'm a Texans fan, but these one possession games are causing me to lose years off of my life. So, but
At least you're winning.
at least yeah, that is also a good point. And Sam Houston's winning as well, so I'm pretty happy. I'm a pretty happy guy right now. So, but yeah. Anyway, guys, I'll do it. Like and subscribe today if you haven't, and we will see you Tuesday night and afterwards for the preview for the post game pod and the space that could hopefully come after it. We'll see what happens. So, eat 'em up, cats. Let's beat La Tech.
Eat 'em up, cats.